Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Monday morning, it's 9:10. I am jumping in real early this morning because this is a big game tonight. In fact, this was reiterated and said many times yesterday at open court practice, coaches open house yesterday at the Scottie Bank Arena. Yesterday morning at 9 a.m., I was down there at the arena getting information from our coaches. It was such a fun time, the coaches open house, y'all. I have so much to talk about with it. But one thing that Nick Nurse and Earl Watson and a couple of the other coaches said yesterday was that tonight is a very important game. In fact, when they did a whole practice in front of us yesterday, closed door practice with just us in there, the open coaches house, open house. And they did a whole practice right in front of us. I watched an entire Raptors practice yesterday, and I saw what they do in practices. And I was extremely impressed, you guys. You would be crazy. Like, seriously, I know Tom Duke. All right, listen, Tom, you were out on the West Coast for the open practice in Victoria. And I'm wondering if it's very similar what you saw and what I saw yesterday, because this team, the way they are so dedicated and understand the system and the way they call it, oh my gosh, the way they run practice is amazing. I did not realize that they had their shit together so well. And it was so cool to watch. In fact, there's an article Doug Smith put out yesterday in this Toronto Star. He's saying that most teams do not even practice anymore, and they don't even do different things because the vets on teams have all the power and they're lazy. There's a lot of teams in the NBA right now where the players that are older on the team say, we're not practicing today, coach. And they have all the leverage in today's NBA. Well, meanwhile, this is not the case with the Toronto Raptors. You could ask any of those coaches that went to that open house with me yesterday, and you could see the tight ship that they run. Oh my gosh. If y'all have any questions about the open house and the things that happened yesterday, we'll get to it. But yeah, this is going to be a very fun preview, guys. Good morning, Tom Duke. Great week ahead for the Raptors. Defense, please. Cavs won 5 of their last 6. Bucks beat them because Giannis had 38 and held Cavs to 10 points in the third quarter. You know, they have a lot of injuries, the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. Let's get this out of the way right now. This is the injury report for tonight. Jared Allen is day to day. He has missed a lot of games recently, and he could come back today. He did not play yesterday for the Cleveland Cavs against Detroit. They played Detroit last night, and so they're going to be on the second night of a back-to-back. This is fantastic for the Raptors. But Detroit was very shorthanded, and they were beating them the whole game for the most part until Donovan Mitchell kind of took over in the fourth quarter, and he guided them home at the end of the game. They really outscored the Pistons in the fourth quarter by a lot. It was something like, what was it? It was 29-16 in the fourth quarter. So they had to shut their water off on the Pistons and score a bunch for them to actually win the game last night, because they played from behind. And Jared Allen did not play in this game. It really was Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley that was carrying the Cavaliers. Now, they're missing all kinds of guys. Seriously, we're catching a team that's kind of looking like us as far as injuries. Not as many key guys, but yeah, kind of. If Jared Allen doesn't play tonight, that's huge. But Karis LeVert has been out. His ankle is messed up. So he was out yesterday. I don't think he's going to come back tonight. Kevin Love is out right now. Lamar Stevens is out. Dylan Windler is out. And Ricky Rubio is out. So the Cleveland Cavaliers have injury issues right now and don't have their full roster. Meanwhile, on our side of the ball, things are looking a lot more sunnier. I can give you the assessment from my own 2 eyes, because I was at that practice yesterday, and I can tell you exactly where the health is with our players just from my own 2 damn eyes. I'm not relying on Josh Lewenberg or Michael Grange today. I'm telling you from old two eyes here is what's going to tell you right now. Basically, in practice yesterday, we had different levels of what guys were doing. We had the guys who were in the full practice that did the whole thing and ran around and did the whole thing. And that was most of the team. There were only 5 guys who did not participate in practice yesterday. And those 5 guys were Otto and Precious were completely out of practice yesterday because they are still very hurt. Those guys are definitely not going to be back very soon from what it seems, although Otto was not wearing a walking boot like he had been recently. As far as Precious Precious was really interesting at the open practice yesterday because he was kind of doing things like he got one of the balls and he was doing like soccer dribbling, like kicking the ball up and down, and Rico was standing next to him. He's like, "Whoa, that's pretty good, Precious." And Precious was just like, "Yeah, you like how I can do this?" But Precious was in a good mood, but he did sit on the sidelines with his hoodie up and just kind of chilled the whole time, just kind of taking in the practice. And then near the end, Precious did shoot a couple of little shots, but no contact and no like actual exertion of like running around. So those two dudes are the most injured still. And they just sat out, Otto and Precious. Now, the three guys that sat out otherwise were guys that are healthy and will play today. It's just that they had a heavy workload on Saturday night. And those three were Fred, OG, and Thad. Those three guys were exempt from running in the practice because they're older players and they had heavy minutes on Saturday night against Luka and the Mavs. So they were held out, and it was cool because I saw them. They were directly across the court from us on the other side, and they were just sitting, the three of them together and just palling around. OG was in the middle, and he's kind of laying back like this, and Thad's on one side and Fred's on the other, and they just had the old head like vet meeting, kind of hanging out, goofing around, kind of watching the other guys run up and down. But they had a well-deserved rest from practice yesterday, and obviously that's why. I mean, OG he just ran around after Luka all night the night before, and he deserved that time off. And Fred and Thad, being older and not necessarily needing the reps of the practice, were that was part of the reason why they're sitting there. Now, get this, everybody else practiced. Justin Champagnie, Delano Banton, Scottie Barnes, everybody else on our injury list. And Scottie's listed today as day-to-day. I'm going to tell you this right now. Scottie's not hurt. I mean, he hobbles a little bit when he's walking around, but he's high energy and he looked good yesterday. It was funny because he was a little bit hamming up for the crowd. Not really. At one point, he made this really awesome shot and he turned around and went, shh, 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 and everybody, like the arrow thing, and everybody, like the coaches laughed at it and kind of gave him a pop for it because they instructed us before they even came out. I didn't even know they were going to do a whole practice in front of us, and we would get to see the whole entire team live and do a whole practice in front of us. It was crazy, and I have so much I could tell you guys about it. But they told us coming in, Paul Jones was the host of the open coaches open house, and he said, "Guys, you are coaches. You need to act professional when the practice is going on. Act like you're just coaches watching. You're not fans. You can't sit there and like cheer these guys during their practice. This is very professional environment, and y'all are privileged to be here. In fact, media types like me are not allowed to come into these things normally. And you got to understand, we have to sign all kinds of waivers and all kinds of crazy stuff just to be in the room when they're practicing like this. So it was very special. And everybody was very professional in the crowd. And then Nick said at the end of it, in the interview afterwards, he said, "I'm very proud of my guys because they ran the practice very professional themselves, the team." So very, very, very illuminating morning for me yesterday. Oh my gosh, y'all. I learned a lot of stuff yesterday about our Raptor team. And I'm going to tell all y'all everything I learned. Don't worry, we're going to get to it. Let me see a couple more of the comments here. Logical's here. Good to see Mike. Salute real ones. Project Truth always, Mike. And I want to tell you the truth about the coaches open house yesterday. Look at what I got. They gave me this nice, cool tangerine orange bag. And look at this, y'all. I got the dry erase board, the official Raptors dry erase board, where you can write the plays on. And it even says coaches open house, tangerine. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. And then the one other thing that was in the bag was a Raptors coach's whistle. Look at that whistle with the Raptors symbol on the side of it. And I guess that's like a lanyard to put it around so you can put it around your neck. So some goodies were had while I was there. And they had like free coffee and Danishes, but I didn't partake of those. But yeah, very cool event yesterday. I got there very early, like right at before 9. Like I was really at like 8:15. I got there, and there were already like 300 people lined up at Sunday morning at like 8 in the morning at the arena already. It was crazy how many people were there, especially because Nick Nurse said, he's like, "I'm shocked that all y'all are here because Canada's playing in the World Cup as we're here, sitting here, and y'all are choosing to come to this instead of watching the soccer game or the football game." So very, very crazy stuff. Forgetful saying, "You're lucky fellow." Oh my gosh, you know what? We are lucky. We are lucky because we are Toronto Raptors fans. And there were two things said by two different coaches yesterday that really stuck with me. One of them was Earl Watson. Now, let me just like go through my notebook because I don't want to forget anything. The first thing that happened was Adrian Griffin came out and he did a whole speech about play about motivation. It was about motivation and motivating your team. And apparently Adrian's back has given out. He was really having a hard time getting around. And when he was sitting for a little while at the end of the thing, they had to help him up. They had to literally lift him out of his seat. But it was very run the mill kind of stuff. He was talking about his experiences as becoming a coach and coaching under people like a lot of different people he coached underneath in Milwaukee and different places. Interesting stuff from Adrian Griffin. And then Jim Sann came out and he kind of ran drills with some of the young ladies. They had a team from one of the schools around here. The ladies from their team came out and they were showing different drills on the court. Jim Sann, I get the picture of what he does on this team even more so. That this dude's a director. In fact, during the practice, he ran the practice, y'all. Nick Nurse doesn't run these practices. You know what he does? He stands back like this and just watches everybody do everything for him. It's like he sets everything up and his assistant coaches are delegated to run the practice and he just kind of observes. He doesn't yell or talk or anything. He just stands back and watches them do their shit. And it's really Jim Sann who's telling them like, all right, guys, Christian, Scottie, Justin, Delano down this court, you guys at this end of the court and run the shooting drills and this drill. And he just calls out the drill and these dudes go right to the spots, listen to them, and they just start doing the drills. And it's very synchronized and very fluid. I'm sure Tom Duke saw something like this in Victoria when they did the open practice. That is very much, they're just calling things out and the dudes switch around and then they do the next drill. And then they like a lot of what they were working on yesterday. This is really good. And there was a lot of emphasis about this. And what they were talking about is shooting. I know, y'all. It's like Nick was like, all right, I know we haven't been shooting well as a team lately. He didn't say that, but he's like very much saying we work on shooting all the time. In fact, this is the most important thing we work on in our practices, is what he said. He said like 80% of what we're doing in practice is shooting drills. And they did like corner threes. They did elbow threes. They did this at the beginning of the practice. They do a little like get your form set at the beginning of the game kind of thing where they stand right next to the basket and they all shoot in a hoop around it. And then he says, step back. And then they take a step back and they shoot from a little bit further out. And he says, step back. And they take another step back and they're all rotating at the same time. Like there'll be 8 of them on each basket at each end. And they'll be shooting and then they'll step over, then they'll step over and they'll go right around the lane and keep shooting just like shots like that. That's how they start. I'm going to tell you something right now, y'all. Juancho Hernan-Gomez is a very good 3-point shooter. He's going to be more and more of a better and better 3-point shooter as the year goes on. I watched him yesterday in the shooting drill, he barely missed, y'all. And the way he shoots and the way he does it is really good. Like this guy is a legit 3-point threat. It's just that we have not got his confidence and his rhythm with the team yet. But when we do, this guy's going to be deadly. And he's going to be doing more and more for us as the year goes on. Like him and Siakam were the most impressive with their 3-point shooting yesterday in the drills. In fact, when Siakam got on a roll at one point, everybody in the arena was counting out his shots. They were like, 8, 9. He like made 9 threes in a row from the corner. And everybody's like, 10. He's like, we're just counting with him. And Siakam was the most joyful at the practice. The dude is moving really well. I think he could play today. Seriously, y'all. The way he was moving around, he's in such good spirits. He was like smiling and laughing. He was interacting with us. But most of everybody else ignored us. Except for Pascal. He kept looking out at us and like waving and smiling at us, but still very much engaged in the practice and doing everything that they had to do at the same time. It was kind of like he was bored doing the practice, but he was also like engaging us and kind of like smiling. And he was very loud too, like yelling around the court and saying funny things, being a clown, honestly. And it was hilarious. Like, Pascal, you go. And then, of course, in his interview after the practice, he's like getting asked, when are you going to play? Because you look pretty good out there. He's like, I want to play. I'm ready to play, but it's not up to me. It's when Dr. Alex says I can play. So it really is up to McKechnie. When McKechnie says that Scottie and Pascal can play, they will play. Same thing for Delano. But I will tell you right now, from the way things looked on the court, the only people that could be sitting out tonight are Otto and Precious, and every single the rest of them will be back tonight. There very much could be that possibility. Now, Pascal is not for sure. It's like they really want to err on the side of caution with him. And we talked a little bit about that kind of groin injury, how it could be really easy to re aggravate if you do not fully heal it. And that is probably part of what Dr. McKechnie is keeping him off for. If he doesn't play tonight, that's pretty much it. But he looks good and he's ready. And I love what Pascal said in that interview also. You know what he said? He said this. They asked him, how do you feel about being like a top 5 guy for like the first couple weeks of the season? Then you get hurt and you have to sit out like this. And he had such a beautiful answer. It's like an answer that we should all apply to our own lives. He said, listen, I have my own plan for how I want things to go. And sure, sometimes that doesn't always go that way. And he realizes that God has another plan for him and that he has to understand and trust his path that God puts in front of him, and it's the better path and the better thing for him. So he has a really weird concept about he's not depressed because he got hurt when he was playing so well and sad like a lot of players would be. He's like, this is just God's plan and it's going to mean better and greater things for him. That is his whole mentality about this. And I love that. Like when we have adversity in our own lives and things don't go exactly how we would like them to go, sometimes God's plan, I'm not a religious person, y'all know this. It is more better for us, and we don't even realize it. So this may be what's happening here. Now I'm going to tell you something really weird. God had a plan for me today because I woke up this morning and I found out I'm going to the game tonight. Yeah, I had no idea I'd be going to the game tonight. But Adriana was going to be going to the game tonight with her friend Wendy. But she's having issues with some things at her house, so she can't go now. So now I'm going to the game with Adriana tonight. So God had a plan that I need to be in the building tonight. So I'll be down there with you tonight, Monique. After all, I didn't even realize that would happen. So yeah, really interesting practice yesterday. I'm going to say this right now, like with our injury report, Scottie is day to day, and he may not play today because it's still a mystery about him. They asked Nick Nurse about his knee, and Nick laughed about it. He's like, his knee, it's fine. But it's like we don't even know what's wrong with Scottie at this point. Like they didn't really they didn't specify the knee injury. So there's like no, I don't even know if it's real. In some ways, they're like, I don't know if they're being tongue in cheek and maybe they're holding guys out for little nagging injuries or they're making fake injuries up. I don't know. But the thing with Scottie's very weird. Now, like I said, there were a couple times during practice where he was hobbling a little bit on his leg. He wasn't walking. He was limping a little bit. So he could be actually still really hurt. But who knows? I think he could play tonight. I think Pascal could play tonight. I'm pretty sure Delano could play tonight from what I saw him practicing. And even Justin. Justin was dunking the ball in the practice a lot. And it was kind of cool to see Justin in the drills and the way that they were all playing. They were all there. Jeff Doughton Jr., Ron Harper Jr., all 17 of the Raptors were at that practice yesterday. Some of them did not participate. Like I said, OG and Fred and Thad sat out. But after the practice was over, they all shot around for a while afterwards, just light shoot around Fred, Thad, and OG. And Malachi and Chris, those 5 guys in particular, stayed out there the longest shooting around afterwards. And Malachi was working really closely with Rico Hines. And Rico Hines was, you go, Mally. Come on, Mally. Make the shot, Mally. He kept saying that to him. So he calls him Mally. Mally, come on, Mally. It was so cool. It was so cool, y'all. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we had Jim Sann talk, and then Earl Watson came out. And Earl Watson, holy crap, exactly what I thought his speech would be like. He's such a G, y'all. Earl Watson. He came out and started talking about Lou Alcindor and John Wooden and Jerry Sloan and Hubie Brown. And I was like, damn, he's talking about some of the greats. Like, and I didn't realize how much greatness Earl Watson has been around. At UCLA, he was around Steve Lavin and John Wooden and the alumni of the UCLA great school. And then he got coached by Hubie Brown in Memphis as a player. He was under Billy Donovan at Oklahoma City. He's been in different places where he's been around really great coaches. Like he played for Jerry Sloan as a player in Utah. And he just has a wealth of knowledge from so many great coaches that he's been around. it really was kind of like a name drop with each coach. Jim Sann comes out and he says, I worked under Pat Riley. And like, Earl Watson comes out, I worked under Hubie Brown. And he starts talking about Hubie Brown. I'm like, woo, my ears perk up because Hubie Brown is one of my favorite basketball minds of all time. And Earl Watson really reveres Hubie Brown in a lot of different ways. It's funny. He's telling the young female players that were out there helping them show schemes. He's like, do y'all know who Lou Alcindor is? Y'all don't know who Lou Alcindor is what he said. It was funny. He was cracking jokes, and Earl was awesome. Earl was so good. There's one thing that he really said that stuck out to me, and this really is a big part of our Raptor Freak cult. He said, belief is reality. He said, you know what these guys do? They do the same damn thing we're doing right now. When we say Raptors NBA champions 2023, this is the way they do it from the inside the team, is what Earl said. He said, listen, belief can become reality. That if you believe it inside your head, if you believe that you're this good, if you believe you can win, if you believe you can get the Larry O'Brien championship this year, you can do it, because belief is the first part of making things reality. So we're exactly on the right track here with this station as far as believing and putting belief out there, because belief, the more belief and we put out there, the more reality comes. And Earl is a huge proponent of this kind of philosophy and thinking your way and manifesting your dreams and your everything happening for you by believing it will happen. That if you believe you're a shitty player and you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, then that's who you will be. But if you believe that you can be Pascal Siakam and rise up and up and up and up, then you will be that. And there's a lot of power in that. And this, like, let's put this on everybody's lives individually in your own life, and how if you believe in something, you will achieve it. So let's keep going. I got all the signs pointing to me yesterday that what we're doing on this channel is the right thing. And our belief in them winning more Larry O'Briens is exactly the same belief that Masai Ujiri and Nick Nurse have when they wake up every morning. You think these guys are fucking around and wasting their time trying to just play to win, just to win some games? No, they're fucking around to play to try and win some more Larry O'Briens. And there ain't nothing else other than that. So our cult, the way we act here, reflects more and more the characteristics and the embodiment of the people on the Raptors team, like Masai Ujiri at the head and Nick Nurse as the director, as the coach. They are all about Larry O'Brien's, and they're exactly on the same page as us. Because that's what they said. Look, Masai Ujiri and I are the same, as what Nick Nurse said. We have the same burning desire, and that is to bring championships to Toronto over and over again. And I loved hearing that. Oh my gosh. And Nick Nurse at some point, because I was sitting near the middle near the front row, I was right front and center, and like 3 rows back, but not right front. He was looking straight at me at one point. He said, keep teaching this country about the game of basketball and helping it grow. And I was like, damn, is he saying that directly at me? Because like he said, what y'all are doing as coaches and what you do is really helping the game here in Canada. And you guys shape the game for tomorrow. And I was like, damn, I got so inspired by everything that happened there. Nick was cracking jokes. He was hilarious. At one point, he's talking about, yeah, I never get too emotional or bombastic on the court, on the sideline as a coach. And I started laughing. Nobody else was like, what? He's telling a joke. And he started laughing. And then everybody started laughing because they didn't realize he was telling jokes also. Because he did tell a bunch of jokes during his speech. And some of them went right over people's heads. And some of it is because they're more coaches and they're maybe not as in-depthly watching the Raptors like we are on this channel. And some of this stuff just went woo right over their heads. But they talked about so many specific instances. Like Trevor Gleason broke down the whole thing that happened at the end of the Atlanta game the other day. That Trevor, his whole section of talking was about end game situations and how to play for them. And he used the Atlanta Hawks game as a huge example of what happened with it and breaking it down, and went all through it. It's really cool. Trevor Gleason is such a badass too. Like, it's funny. He came out and he said, I hope y'all speak Australian. He said, I'll speak slower so y'all can understand me. It was hilarious, but they were all badasses. I loved hearing from all of them. Like I said, we had Adrian Griffin, Jim Sann, Earl Watson, and Trevor Gleason were the 4 coaches that had little periods of time, and they got question and answer period a little bit with the people in the crowd, and just really fun stuff. And some of the questions from the crowd were really, really good, like coaching questions And some of them were really crazy people too. Like this one dude had this crazy chain, and I'm like, I don't think he's a coach. I think he's just a dude who came because he wanted to be here. And he had this crazy ass big gold chain. And Nick's like, dude, badass chain. He said this to the guy when he's asking the question. It was like the dude had like a really pimping chain. It was crazy. She's saying, so cool. You must have loved it. Man, this was like some sort of weird nirvana for me. Like just a beautiful heavenly place to be there. And like a coach sitting next to me at some point in the middle of the practice was like, this is so surreal to be a fly on the wall watching this right now. Because it really was really impressive. And I don't know, Tom, you could confirm to me when you watched the Victoria Open practice, were they really like tight and with their switching around? Like to me, it looked like a really synchronized circus of like these dudes were all just going and they knew exactly what to do. And then at a certain point, they started running plays on the fly. Like not Nick, it was Nate Bjorkgren and Jim Sann. They called the play and the guys would have to like do the play within the set. And they, the practice was only 45 minutes. They went all out and they like did a whole bunch of stuff and then they were out, they were gone. And that was it. And it's funny because on Twitch on Saturday night, Scottie was like, oh, I'll be at practice. I didn't put two and two together. The open house for the coaches would be the practice he would be coming to and doing that at practice. Cause he said, I go to practice when practice is happening. Well, he was at practice and I saw him there and it was crazy. It was just crazy, man. All right, let's see. Jimmy Pope's here. Morning. Hope we win this game. Yeah, I do too. And morning to you, Bishop. Mason Culligan saying we best Luca in Dallas. Woohoo! Morning, Raptor Freaks Nation. I like the fight we played with OG and Freddie was on point. Glad to hear Pascal is training in practice. Go Raps, go. Yeah, he's in good spirits. He's just smiling. He's like very funny. He's hilarious, bro. Like he was being such a clown yesterday. Everybody else was very professional and very like not looking at the crowd and just practicing the drills and doing all that stuff. And meanwhile, Pascal was kind of hamming it up for us. Mason, let's see. G saying Pascal's return video was great. Wasn't that so well produced? That Sunday service, that thing that it came out, like it's very inspiring. And it's exactly kind of going along the lines of what he was saying in that interview is that like his plan can be what he wants his plan to be, but he knows that, you know what, sometimes his plan is going to get messed up and God's plan is better is what he's saying. It's really weird. Really, really weird, but really like interesting way to look at life and adversity and deal with it in a very healthy way. Game it to your side and make it in your favor. Let's see. Mike's saying, yeah, our practices are big in the minutes given. They need to perform in the intense practices before they see minutes game time. It's important to earn minutes for mentality shaping. I don't even know how they can figure out how to give minutes from that, man. It really is just running a tight ship and having everybody just execute and do things. Seriously, it's really weird, Mike. Like if you saw, like I know that different basketball teams practice a certain way, but this was really, really like military. Like they were very like fall in, guys, and do this and do that, and they're like synchronized and they really listen. First of all, like I can tell if you have a team that's not bought into your coach and they're kind of half-assed, they may not listen very well and like do the things that they're trying to get them to do in a very quick way. But not these Raptors. They're right on the spot and they are totally soaking in everything the coaches are saying. And they're doing everything in a very professional, organized way quickly. Like they ran sets and drills like within like 2 minutes and then boom, they're on the next one right away. There's no stop and trying to figure it out and stay, hey, no, you need to do this differently for that to work. No, they just ran it all. And these guys, like they know how these practices go and they run right through them. And it was very illuminating. It's not like it's a super long practice. It's just very short, but very intense and going the whole time. But very interesting. So interesting. Cool Cat saying, good morning. Good morning, Cool Cat. We going to the game tonight. Yeah, I'm going to the game finally. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying, Christian Siakam seems like a polished speaker. So cool. You had a good experience. Christian Siakam, yeah, from 905. Yeah, it was great, Tom. I really wonder how similar it was to your experience over in Victoria preseason. Raymond Jacobs saying, cool, Lex. I think those should be the next prizes for trivia. What I have here? No, man. These are for me, bro. This is special. Like this is going to be my momentum for going to this thing for the rest of my life. I'll be like, I went to that open coaches. And this will be the thing that remind me. So no, you guys will get better gifts and not so personally like relevant to me. I know you don't want Vince Carter things. Raven. Mason saying, sorry, sometimes spell check happens. I don't notice. Meant to say we beat Luca in Dallas. I do believe we just need to weather the injury storm, get healthy, and go on a run. Listen, the vibes are strong, and they're very serious about this game tonight. That was one thing they kept saying yesterday. Is like, y'all, this is a very important game tomorrow night, and we are taking a very serious practice, because this is the practice we need to get ready for the game tonight. And I'll tell you right now, that kind of way they practice and what they're doing, I feel real confident about them coming in against Cleveland tonight. I really like that Cleveland's on the second night of a back-to-back. I really like that they have some key injuries like Kevin Love. And if Jared Allen is not playing tonight, that is very helpful. They've been starting Lopez in the starting lineup with those guys, but he was an absolute fail against Detroit last night. He played the first 4 minutes, and then they didn't play him again for the rest of the night because he was just failing all over the place. So we'll have to see if they start Lopez again tonight or if they get Jared Allen back. But I really like our chances tonight because we do have some good momentum spirit-wise on our team. They were up. Like if we had lost to Dallas on Saturday night, this is very true what Fun Guy said, that if we had lost, they would have been in a weird mood and they wouldn't have been as upbeat as they were yesterday because everybody was very happy and smiley on the court. And it must be very interesting to see what it would have been like if they had lost also. I didn't want to be there if it was like that in some ways, partly because it would be like kind of tough. But no, they were very smiley and happy after a big win over Dallas. There was some cool things that, they asked Nick in one of the questions was, what do you tell your players after a win or a loss? And he told us exactly what I knew from this summer. He doesn't tell them anything because he doesn't talk to them. He said that. He said, basically, I like last night with the Dallas game, I basically came into the locker room and said, great win, guys. I'll see you tomorrow at practice. And that's all he said to them. And if it's a loss, he doesn't say anything. He just says, okay, and he goes home. And apparently Masai has the same thing. He does too. He does not talk after games either himself. He's taken the same approach as Nick at this point, where Masai is not somebody to talk to after the games either. So it really is that sleep on it. Don't react into games emotionally, whether it's high or low. Is sleep on it and then come in the morning and watch the tape. And after being rested, deal with whatever you're dealing with from the night before. So he talked more about that again. One of the cool things that we found out also yesterday was that, all right, Nick Nurse had one of these report card sheets that they have. Like he said, one of the big ways he keeps his team doing the right things is accountability. And the way he gets accountability is by leaving these report cards out for the guys before they even, like the coaches come in the room, they leave them up on the board or they hand them out to them, and it's grading them on their defensive assignments. Like how many times did you close out on defense? And he read OG's stats off for Saturday night with Luca. He said that he had like 56 opportunities to close out on Luca, and he made like 49 of them for like an 80% rating on that. And he said, that's really good. That's a green. And he has them all ranked. He said, everybody was green and yellow, except for one person was not. And like, he didn't say who, but he had like 5 categories of defensive stuff that they're supposed to do. And they're all ranked like a report card. And when you leave that out in the locker room and they're all coming in for film session and they start seeing it, they talk about it amongst themselves and they can kind of really suss out, okay, well, Gary, you got to do this, or, Scottie, you're not doing this well enough, because they have the information in front of them. Well, one of the guys in the audience raised their hand and said, I want to know what the 5 categories are on that sheet. And Nick was like, I don't know if I can tell you. And then he looked over at Nate Bjorkgren. He said, can I tell them? Because Nate is apparently the guy who's in charge of secrecy for the team. Like as far as plays and like things like that, there may be proprietary to the team, like how we run, the team. And so he was like, all right, he'll allow it. He allowed Nick to tell us what was on the sheet as far as the 5 defensive categories that he was really grading these guys on for executing the game. I don't remember the 5 off the top of my head. It was pretty normal shit. It's like deflections, closeouts, all that kind of stuff. But it was really fun and interesting to know that this is one of the roles of Nate Bjorkgren. is to protect the secrets of the team from people finding out. And also Nick kept saying, I was like, there's no media types here right now. But meanwhile, Will Lou, Aaron Rose, and Lindsey Dunn are sitting in the corner of the group with us. I was like, there's no media people here right now. I can tell you guys some stuff. And like, I'm like, they're over there. I'm like pointing for Nick. I'm like, they're over there. There's Will Lou right there. There's Lindsey Dunn. There's Aaron Rose right there. He didn't care though. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a joyous thing. And I could tell they really enjoy doing it, the coaches. Like they like having that moment to talk to people and kind of do a little bit of a class, like Earl Watson and Jim Sann in particular, Trevor Gleason, and then also Nick. Oh my gosh. One of the things he said that almost brought a tear to my eye yesterday, he says, listen, I don't take this job lightly. Having the privilege to coach the Toronto Raptors. That I don't take this lightly, y'all. This is a very serious thing to me, and this is a privilege. I understand this is not a right that's just given me. This is an honor and something that I do that I am so proud and lucky to do. And then he turned around and he said, I'm also super, super proud and lucky and privileged to represent the country of Canada as the head coach of Team Canada. And when he said both those things, I was like, damn, he's serious. Like he really won't turn his back on us at any point. Seriously, I don't see it. I do not see Nick Nurse ever selling us out or stabbing us in the back. That he is a company man. He's with us for good. And he could very well be like our Popovich in like 20 years, guys. Seriously. Oh my gosh. All right. Cool Cat saying I'm behind on the session a few minutes because I wanted to hear everything from the coaching session. I got last minute ticket for the game tonight, hoping Pascal returns tonight. Yeah, I got last minute game tonight too. I'll be in 320. So who knows? I know Monique's going to be there also. I really want to help them beat the Cavs tonight. I'm going to be coming there with a very, very loud booming voice. And I'm going to be yelling some defense tonight. Oh, yeah, I will be. Mike's saying we run a system where we don't micromanage everyone. We find the right people and support them and not run them. Well, that's not totally true, Mike. They were micromanaging people left and right. It's weird because they break off into two sections and they'll have like an equal amount of coaches and players on each section. And in the middle of it, Rico is talking to certain guys in the middle of it. Like he may have just focused on Malachi in some ways and really watched him and was on him. And then like Jim Sands watching somebody else, Earl Watson's on somebody, Carbaccio's on somebody, McGlure is on somebody. They're all working in like really kind of in the middle of a whole big scheme of things working. They're still micro coaching each one of them like closely all at the same time. So sometimes there's a lot of noise and confusion and it's very hard to watch it all at once. But it's all happening. And once again, I'm telling you, Nick Nurse is just standing to the side, like his arms like this, just watching them. Like he's not even saying anything. It's almost like he prepares it all and sets it up. And this is the system. And he delegates his assistant coaches to run the actual practice. Because Jim Sann was the one who was actually running the practice with a little bit of Nate Bjorkgren running it. And then the other coaches are just in there like micromanaging in the middle of it. So that's not totally true, Mike. They were micromanaging them. Like it could be Rico was just telling little details on Malachi and Gary. Those were the two guys he was really focusing on. And he was really talking about their shooting. And he was very encouraging to both of them. He's like, that's right, Gary. Go, Gary. Go, Gary. Make it, Gary. And he's just like focused on him. Meanwhile, they're all shooting at the same time. It's just certain coaches were with certain people. So it's very interesting how they do it. Let's see. And they were very supportive. And there didn't seem like there was a lot of critique. I mean, there obviously was like, after the practice, OG and Earl Watson went through this whole thing of like, he was teaching OG some stuff on how to drive to the basket and lay it up with his left hand on the left side of the basket. And he was showing him himself. He'd run it through it and do it. And then OG would mimic what he was doing. There was a little bit of that at the end of the practice when they were all everybody left except for the ones that wanted to stay behind. And OG, because he didn't participate in the actual practice, he could do that kind of stuff afterwards. Raymond Jacobs saying, cool cat. Me too. When he starts early, low, maybe Lex should start at 9. I do this on game days because I want to get to the spot early. It really is symbolic of our defense getting to the spot before them. In fact, this was a very interesting thing that Earl Watson said yesterday. He said on offense, you should be late, but on defense, you should be early. That there's a philosophy on offense where you can be like a little bit laid back. This is part of what Fred does. Let things kind of organize. Like that was something that Earl talked about a lot. Like we get on to Fred for holding the ball and just kind of reading the floor and doing what he does. Like sometimes we feel like, oh, he's holding the ball too long. But they actually really like that he does this because he's really assessing things and allowing for the offense to start developing and happen. And it's a whole part of a philosophy called bring the offense late, but on the other end, bring the defense early and get there early to the spots before they get to the spots they're trying to get to. So that's like a mantra inside the Raptors organization. Offense, slow it down and go late, and on defense, go early. All right, let's see. Boston Sports is here. All right, let's see what the Boston Sports Nation has to say to us today. So after 20 games, I think it's safe to say Boston is the team to beat. Who do you think can beat this duo of Tatum and Brown in a 7-game series? We came real close in the bubble, like real close, real close. What an epic series against Boston and Toronto. The only time we've ever played in the playoffs. We'd like to get another chance again. I mean, our record doesn't really like show some things, partly because of our very serious injuries that we've had so far this season. Now, yeah, you guys are up near the top, but in some ways, I think Milwaukee is a very impressive team in more ways, in some ways. But, listen, I got to give you all your shine at least a little bit. You're right. You're at the top right now. But we'll see. We'll see. There's still a lot of season to go and all kinds of things that can happen. I know y'all will get Robert Williams III back soon, but I'd love to see y'all in the postseason. We do need some get back against y'all. And yeah, we want to even the playoff series against y'all. Y'all won 7-game series against us. We need to beat y'all in the playoffs this year. And then it'll be even 1-1. And don't think that we can, because we got plumbers on our team that know how to clamp down on pipes and cut water off. So it ain't no flow. And we're going to do that to you, yo. All right, let's see. Tom Duke is saying there was no open practice here in Victoria. It was just a scrimmage that they used as a fundraiser event. You saw some great closed door stuff. Yeah, okay. So they didn't actually run drills or do what they do like for practice. Yeah, I saw full practice and it was crazy. Like seriously, they are so organized and the players are such professionals, the way that they run it all with the coaches. And I can see how our team is advanced compared to other teams. Like if other teams can't do this because of somebody like Russell Westbrook or somebody on their team that's like not exactly bought in, and it's really hard to do it. But with everybody there present and bought in and really trusting the coach is really important. That was something that Earl Watson talked about is you need to talk to the players like their people and get them on your side and bought in so that they want to die for you as far as on the court. They want to go out there and just kick ass in your name. And that's really important part. Like coaches, when they talk to players, they ask them about their families. They get to know them. That's really important that you get that kind of connection with your team, because then they'll really buy into what your philosophies are and really try and execute them to their full extent. So you can see where there could be a slippery slope of not very good coaching with players if that's not jiving right. And the vibes and the connections with all of our players in this way are very, very strong, very, very strong. And I wonder about some other teams about how that is. Some of the better teams have probably got it like us, but there's probably a few teams that don't have this at all. And it's really hard for them to get going. Let's see. Bishop's saying, me and Lex. Yes, right. Tom Duke's saying, Boston Sports, that's an easy one. The Raptors deep squad can beat your stars. Yeah, I like that what you're saying, Tom Duke. I mean, we match up well with them. We have not seen them yet. Let's see them first. I mean, Boston, come see us first. Come up to Toronto early in December, and we'll come see us. Let's see where we are at there with us and where we're at, and we'll see what's going on there. Raymond's saying Boston, Brown and Tatum never go off against the Raps D. It's the other shooters that we worry about. Yeah, it's like Pritchard and Hauser and secondary guys, because like we do a pretty good job. I know that Jaylen Brown versus OG Anunoby is another one of these big matchups that OG looks forward to. So we saw what he did to Luka this weekend. So yeah, Boston, we want to see you. We have not seen you yet this season. Until we see you, there will not be any shit talking between our fan nations until one of us loses to the other. And I'm hoping that we can beat your ass here when we have home court advantage in about a week from now. Let's see. Tom Duke saying Toronto Raptors 2023 NBA champions. That's right. Belief. Put it into reality. This is what Earl Watson said yesterday. You believe it, you will achieve it, is what he said. Mike saying Lex with the official Raptors coaching swag and the inside info. I'm jelly. It was crazy, Mike. You should try and go to it next year. Like they've done this 12 years in a row. The last couple ones have been virtual. and online. You couldn't go in person, obviously, because of pandemic. And they were really happy to see everybody in person yesterday. This was the first one they did in person because last year they had an upswing in like the pandemic, and like a lot of things they didn't have capacity at the building around this time, so they couldn't do it in person last year. So hey, logical Raptors freak from Bishop. All right, Mason saying, I'm so happy for you that you got to see the Raptors train and be up close and see that you deserve it and you get to talk to anyone you wanted to talk to. Did you see? Uh, I didn't get to talk to anyone. They really kept us confined in the stands and like 10 rows away from the court. And they had microphones and they stood out there and they kind of just talked to all of us. They could see us, obviously, and we were a smaller crowd. So they could kind of, I don't know. My goofy ass, they may be seeing me on YouTube. I don't know. I didn't, at one point, I felt like maybe like Thad's wife recognized me or something, like, oh, because she was out there sitting there. Everybody was there. It was really interesting to see all the Raptors people around, like John Attilia, Dr. McKechnie, everybody was there. Bobby Webster was lurking around and hanging around, but no Masai. Masai's probably out of town, busy, but Bobby was there and he was on his phone. He's kind of talking to Nick a little bit. He's just kind of checking it out, kind of hanging around. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was really kind of like I would rather be here than anywhere else at that time yesterday morning for sure. Nako's saying shorthanded Raptors play better D on Luka than the Celtics. Bucks are Bucks are the team to beat now. Yeah. I mean, I really want to see both those teams. Now it's fishy when we play the Bucks. We end up playing them on the second night of a back-to-back quite a few times this season. Like 3 of the games we play against them is a second night of a back-to-back, and I find that so fishy by the schedule makers. Jimmy Pope saying, "Yo, Boston fan, don't get too cocky. You guys got to keep that pace all year, and the East is tough. That lead ain't as big as you think it is." No, it is really true. Like this season, there's a lot of parity. And there's not a huge gap. We're only 5.5 games behind them. So, and we rose up to the 7th seed. Now, if we beat Cleveland tonight, we'll be 11-9, and we could actually get like to the 5th seed or the 6th seed. So this is an important game to win, obviously, because Cleveland's higher than us. We've already beat them once this season. We need to hold home serve. Both the games against Cleveland and Toronto are going to have happened by the end of tonight. And we'll see them the other 2 times for the rest of the season in Cleveland. So it's going to be really important for us to hold serve and home court in the season series with Cleveland because it could have playoff implications with seeding. So as usual, any East opponent, we want to win the series against them, whether it's Atlanta, Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland. So tonight's really important that we hold our home court. And I know these guys are taking this very seriously. The way that they were so businessmen-like yesterday in practice, and the way they were talking about the coaches in particular, is they want to get this win tonight and beat the Cavs. And they're very serious about it. They are very serious about it. So us as fans, when we come to the arena tonight, let's be serious about it too and bring that right energy. I'm coming down there now, and I'm going to bring it. Trust me, I'm going to bring it tonight. I'm not fucking around. There ain't going to be none of this stuff like last week in Boston's game where people are kind of flaky. No, we're going to come down there and bring this correct energy tonight. Trust me. Let's see. Logical saying salute to Andrew. Yes. All right. Boston saying, let's see. What is his retort? I appreciate the subscription, Boston Sports, by the way. 57 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists. That's what the duo of Tatum and Brown are given every night combined. We are almost talking Shaq and Kobe duo. I mean, listen, they are a great duo. Listen, I have a lot of respect for them. I really like Jaylen Brown. I don't like Jason Tatum, but I like Jaylen Brown. Those numbers are impressive, but you got to understand, once again, we're running a plumbing company up here. And, one of the side effects is one of those guys may get OGitis. And it may not be that they get that kind of numbers when they play us. I mean, we held Luka Doncic on Saturday to the least amount of field goal attempts in any game this season so far. We really clamped him down. And we're going to do that to y'all too. We do that to a certain extent, and we can really mess y'all up. In fact, you can look at box scores from Toronto, Boston games in the last year or so, and you will see that your duo that you're touting with the stats right here their stats are lower than normal when they play against Toronto. You can go look at that. It's very true. You might be shocked to see how little that those guys score against us, and that it is the supporting cast of the Celtics that usually has to step up and carry you guys to the promised land because we cut your big guys off. That's what I'm saying. I get more worried in some ways about Al Horford and people like that, Marcus Smart, it finally hitting shots, than I do Tatum and Brown to a degree. So, because we know we can come after them, and we know that's their focal point. So, obviously, this is what Nick said yesterday. He takes every game as a challenge to like figure out how to defeat the other team, and that he really, really schemes how defensively to completely take away everything the other team likes to do. And he's very successful at this. Earl Watson called him a genius yesterday. He said, he's a defensive genius, my head coach, because he figures out how to stop the best teams in the league in very impressive scheme ways. So, yeah, you bring your offensive duo up here to our defensive cut them and shut them down system, because he's going to figure out a way to shut y'all down. He did it to Luka on Saturday. He's going to try and do it to y'all too. Shane's saying, Boston sports, let's see how your team holds up with one of your big two injured for 11 games. Ain't better than 500 basketball. That much I know. Well, they do miss their guys from time to time, and there will only be like one of them available from time to time. And they do pretty well already. I don't know. But this is true. Like, if they had to weather the storm of injuries that we've had so far this season, they'd definitely be 500 or maybe less. Because, I mean, listen, they've had Robert Williams out. Sure, that's a big one. But other than that, they haven't had a whole lot of major injuries on their team this year so far. Nothing like a Pascal Siakam being out, like what's happened with us. And then all the other guys all around it at the same time. Oh my gosh. Leslie's here. Good morning to Leslie Hart. Always good to see Raptor Freak Leslie Hart. Tom Duke saying OG and Pascal will be producing those kind of numbers, and they will excel on defense too. Oh, and we are proving we have other options too. That's right. That's right. I don't want to compare them to them though. Those Boston pair is a very special pair, but our team is different. Our team is very, very different. And it's not even that it's OG and Pascal. It could be Pascal and Scottie. It could be Pascal and Fred. It could be Pascal and Gary. You know, you don't know who our second option is going to be, Boston. So that's a nightmare to try and figure out how to scheme, because we have so many different guys that could step up and sit beside Pascal as a duo for us. Kareem saying the campaign of Chris Boucher for Prime Minister. Oops, I mean, 6th Man of the Year continues. I'd love Chris Boucher to be the Prime Minister of Canada someday. That would be awesome, because I know he'd do a good job, because he's a real one and he thinks about the everybody, the little people. And I know that he'd do a good job. So I'm all about Chris Boucher for Prime Minister of Canada. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. Oh, and 6th Man of the Year? Sure. If we can get that too. Also, Raymond Jacobson. Hang on. Raymond Jacobs saying, laugh out loud. How did Gary look in practice? He looked pretty good. He's still, listen, he looks like he's sick still. Either sick or something's wrong with his leg. His shot is, he doesn't have his legs under his shot exactly right. Now, at times he got his rhythm and he was hitting them nice. Like in the corner drill, the corner shooting drill, he shot with pretty good from over there. But it still seems like he's off. Like he's missing a lot also. Him and Malachi were not making shots like I would hope they would in the practice yesterday. There was a lot of missing by those two guys. But Wancho on dialed in. Oh my gosh, Wancho was making everything, it looked like. But yeah, Gary, I think he's still a little hurt with his leg, whether it's his ankle or his shin or his hip or whatever it is. He's still hobbled a little, but he's trying to play, and that's all that matters. But yeah, he didn't look exactly right. Seymour saying, let's go, Raptors and Raptor Freaks. Yes, Seymour Pape, good to see you. And morning to Kendrick James. Thanks you again, Kendrick James, for that great art last week. Listen, guys, if you guys want to commission some art by Kendrick, find him on Facebook. It's a Kendrick Chronic Art and James. And he is all about doing commissions. If you guys have something you want him to do, if you like that art that he did for this channel the other day, he can definitely help you guys out. Don Vito, if you watch this later, look up Kendrick Chronic Art James on Facebook. And the dude just wants to create art for people. And if you can help him out by giving him a little bit of money for it too, or paying him for it, that's fantastic. So y'all, if you like the art that Kendrick does, he's definitely available to do stuff for you guys and on commission. So Don Vito, Kendrick Chronic Art James. That's who you need to look up on Facebook and contact him and let him know you from Raptor Free channel, and he'll hook you up with your project that you need done. Logical saying Nick is watching for minutes and real game stuff. That's what he's doing during practice. He's thinking up different things and watching and charting skills. Yeah, that may be what it is. That could be what it is. I think, maybe he's watching. He's probably watching. He's watching the energy of the guys. He's watching how much they're making. He's maybe thinking, like, you know what? This guy's looking real good this practice. Like, Wancho's making his threes like crazy. I think I might have to start him again if guys aren't healthy and able to play. It could be as simple as that. So I don't know. But I think you're right. He is definitely like very much observing and taking it all in at once. But it's so funny. Like at one point, I thought he turned around. He was just staring at us like this, and the practice is behind him, going on behind him. And I was just like, man, that dude's a G. He's just like standing there. His team's like practicing their ass off. He hasn't said anything. He's not doing anything. He's just back there. And meanwhile, Jim Sann's yelling at all the guys to do everything. It's hilarious. So good. All right, let's see. Boston saying Raptors for sure could make some noise in the play-in tournament. Good luck. Oh, okay. All right. Don't sully us like that. We're going to be up there with y'all by the end of the year. We get our health back, and we're going to go on a run, and we're going to be right up there with y'all. We're going to be a home court advantage team in the playoffs. You better hope we're not in the play-in or near the end, because you might see us in the first round, and you do not want to see us in the first round. Trust me. You don't want to see us too early. You want to see us in the Eastern Conference Finals if you can get there. That's what I'm saying. So don't sully us, but good luck to you also. No, not really. Bishop's saying good luck, Boston. Yeah. Seymour saying, man said play-in. Laugh out loud. See you in the conference finals. Exactly. Sheriff Seymour Pape is in town and regulating. That's damn right. We'll see you in the conference finals, and we'll put your ass out this time. And I'd love to see a 7-game series where we beat y'all right at the end. And yeah, let's just make it nice and even. Right and even. One thing I can always say to Celtics fans, y'all got to the finals against Golden State, huh? Yeah, how'd you do? And how did we do when we got the finals with Golden State? That's all I need to say is right there. That's what I'm going to say. Mason saying, I'm proud to be a Raptor fan of the group of guys we got. Great. And remember, none of them are in their prime yet. But what I like about our guys is we watch them year by year and they get better. Pascal is the proof. Well, that was definitely a theme from yesterday is development. They was talking about how development is so important. That when he showed up here in Toronto, Masai told him, it's like, look, we're not going to be able to get players the conventional way. We really have to develop our own players from within. And that's what we do, is we develop our own players from within. And in some ways, that's why we're so strong. Is that like this is why we have such a commitment to sticking with guys long term and not just trading willy-nilly, is because to do the development we do, it takes a long time, and you don't want to give up on guys too early or too quick. So you really want to keep guys like Pascal, OG, Fred, Malachi, Gary. You want to keep them around and allow for them to develop further and gain the gains from them getting better as players. Earl Watson said, look, players are selfish. They have their own intentions and what they want in life. They want to, have their best intentions to make more money, become a better player. So to encourage them, you got to show them the way by saying, look, you'll make more money if you become a better player, but you got to listen to us and how we're going to develop you. And if you trust us, you will get there and you will get that money like somebody like Chris Boucher. So it's like that is part of it, is like you need to appeal to the selfishness of the player and say, you want to make more money and become a better player. Well, listen to us and we will develop you to that point. And that's really smart. That's really smart. I mean, in some ways, yeah, of course, it's selfish, but these guys are players and they have to think about themselves and what they want. So when you get it lined up with the team concept and what they want, then boom, you really get a lot of inertia, because that dude's playing for himself and the team at the same time. All right, let's keep going. Tom Duke saying, stay healthy and keep piping off. 60 more games to see where we end up. Yeah. If you're talking to Boston sports fan, yeah. Leslie saying, so happy for you, Lex. What a great experience that you had yesterday. It was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it, guys. Even if you aren't a coach or anything like that, you can just go to it. Trust me, there were a lot of little kids there. There were a lot of people that I'm like, I don't think you're a coach. And some of the real coaches were like, yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't really coaches here. But highly recommend it, guys. If you hear it coming around next year, go. I might even go again next year because it was so fun. I mean, it's free. You could go down there and get some coffee and it was just cool. It was very cool. Let's see. Seymour saying Boucher's backflip jump shot was clutch and one. Yeah, that one shot, like they even said, like Fred wanted to give the ball to OG, but OG couldn't be found at that moment. So he had to give it to Chris in that moment because Fred was too tired to make the play at that point in the Dallas game. He was really exhausted by the end of that game. So he got it to Chris, and Chris made the shot. And it really was kind of a looper and kind of falling back, and he fell on his back. And yeah, that was awesome. Very clutch play by Chris. And Chris is just showing that clutch stuff. Now, he played heavy minutes on Saturday night. And I was thinking, man, he could easily be sitting over there with OG and Fred and Thad. But no, Chris is an energy guy. He did the whole practice and ran that whole thing through perfect with everybody else and didn't sit out like the older vets. Like OG really isn't an older vet, but man, after that workload against Luca on Saturday, I can understand why they sat him out for practice yesterday. So Mike saying open gym has shown enough practice clips to understand what's happening. Not gonna lie for me, but real life seeing it is completely different. Hence Jelly comment. You know what, Mike? It's not though. I mean, I've watched all the open gym too, but you don't see the scope of it. Like, you have to really see all 17 of the players, all the coaches, all working in synchronicity and everything that's happening, all the moving parts. It's like a very complicated clockwork. Like, some clocks have all these crazy gears and everything inside of it. There's so much going on inside of it, and it's all synchronized together. That's really what this practice is like. It's like synchronized swimming out of the pool with no water. These guys are really working in formations and like totally in tune. They obviously know the playbook inside out. They understand what the coaches want in each moment because nobody's really like correcting them or getting on them. You're not in the right spot or anything. They're doing it all perfect. And all of them together, like I said, it's beautiful to watch, honestly. And like I said, one coach was like saying, I got to pinch myself. This is so surreal and weird to be in the middle of a private Raptors practice. All of a sudden, it was really weird. Yeah, let's keep talking trash to Boston. We'll see Boston. You come and see us next week. You come and see us. You come to Scottie Bank Arena, and let's see how you do on this side of the border up here in Canada. That's right. Sue saying, good morning, everyone. Let's go Raptors. Yeah, Sue. I love it. Tom Duke saying, woo, let's go, Sue. And hi, Tom. Sue saying, Lex, this sounds like a great opportunity you had yesterday. So glad you got to go. Sue, go next year. Seriously. And all y'all could go. Listen, and it may even inspire you to start coaching in some level. Like, that's what he said. He's like, you can coach kids, coach whoever you want, coach men, women. It doesn't matter. It's all coaching that is the same. And that you can just do it and give back and help the sport grow in Canada is what their main message was yesterday, is help basketball grow in Canada by being great coaches and great leaders to youth learning the sport. Mike saying, I'm saying we don't micromanage front office people and coaches. We micromanage players, of course. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's one thing that Nick was talking about. One of the things he said was his coaching philosophy came from a football coach in Iowa, that he didn't even coach himself. Like, he would like sit up in the press box. The head coach of the football team would sit in the press box and he wouldn't even call the game. He'd just watch it from above, and he'd let his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator run the team on the field. And he's like looking at it. He's like very democratic coaching style, very open. It's not like he's the head coach and just says the end all be all. He really allows his coaches underneath him to really do their roles and have the freedom and to work within all of it. And you get so much more out of it that way. It's like he doesn't have a huge workload as the head coach because he's trying to control everything, like really, really control everything. He completely trusts Jim Sann. He completely trusts Rico Hines. He completely trusts Earl Watson, and that these guys can go and be a coach on their level in the organization that is really the way they want to be the coach. And I think I can agree with that. What you're saying is it is a lot like that. And it really is a way that Nick likes to coach. He likes democracy in coaching is what he said. He likes to have all the coaches feel like they have a huge part in shaping it by doing it their own style. And if their style works within his system of what he's doing, that's badass. And I love Rico was so fun to watch yesterday. He really is like at the runs in their practice. He's yelling, he's getting on them. He's like, Mally, shoot it. Good shot, Mally. Good shot. Rico's a badass. He really is. It's so fun to see him. And all the rest of them, they were all there. Everybody was there pretty much except for Masai Ujiri. All right, let's keep going. Seymour saying Chris Paul wants Pat Beverly booted from the league. Too many awkward pushes and players' backs. Extremely dangerous. That's very interesting. I know those guys don't get along. And, Chris Paul has some power. Maybe, I don't know if he'll get him absolutely booted, especially since he's playing for the Lakers right now. But yeah, that's an interesting push that Chris Paul is looking to do that. I didn't know about that. Cool Cat saying for the game tonight, I'm in section 304 for anyone interested. I'll be in 320 because I am going to the game all of a sudden. And maybe we'll drop through and I'll try and see Monique in the regular meeting spot like we try to do, where she's down. I think it was like 116 that she's down at before the game. So Cool Cat, maybe we can meet you around 116 tonight. I'll be there with Adriana. And yeah, we got tickets at the last minute. Adriana was going to go to the game tonight and not tell me. But then her friend can't go now. So now I'm going with her. But she was going to go to a game without me and not tell me. And I was like, you know what? I'm not upset about that. I'm like, listen, I've been to so many games. I'm just kind of thrilled that you were going to go to the game because she didn't want to hurt my feelings. It's like she wasn't going to tell me. And then now it worked out this way. So I'm going to go with her after all. So yeah, Freaks merchandise. All right, Johnny Alvarez is here. Good morning, Raptors. Hey, Freaks. Hey, Lexi, when's your merch coming? We will support. Let's go Raptors. I don't know, Johnny. Now that I've got this great piece of art by Kendrick James, I may have to put it like iron on a hoodie, a guy on a hoodie where you can wear the hoodie. Yeah, that might be what comes next. So we'll have to see. I know it's going to come some point. Yeah, I need that logo. Yeah, I need that logo. I kind of like the logo that's on there that Kendrick designed. That's on the hoodie of the dinosaur. It works pretty well. So we'll have to see. Maybe that hoodie is the exact hoodie we should make, except it's not got the dinosaur in it. I don't know. We got to figure this out. And I do have a good company that can make these for me. So it's just I just gotta get the design together and send it to them, and boom, they'll start printing them out, and then boom, all of a sudden merch for this channel. Bam. Susan, I may have missed it as I just arrived, but do we know if Pascal is back or is he still out? He wants to play. He could play. Trust me, he could play, Sue. He looked great yesterday. It's really up to Dr. Alex. And it's funny in his interview, he's like, well, why are you laughing over there, Dr. Alex? Are you going to let me play tomorrow night or not? Is what he's saying to him. So he really wants to play, but it's really when Dr. McKechnie will say, yeah, you can play Pascal. And it's the same thing for Scottie, too. I think it's in Delano. It's really when Dr. Alex says these guys can play, they're allowed to, because they're already. I could tell they could play yesterday. They could all play tonight, except for Otto and Precious. Those are the only two guys that could not play tonight for sure. And those other guys, I can tell you right now, if they want to bring them back tonight, they will be back. But it could be that we see one more game for Pascal. I think that's what I'm hearing, is it will be one more game for Pascal, but maybe we get Scottie back tonight for sure. So that's what I'm thinking. It'll be probably maybe Scottie and Delano are returning to the lineup, and Pascal's one more game, and we'll see him for New Orleans. So that's what I think the timeline is right now. Let's see. Seymour saying you need a laminated press card at this point. You're more on point than TSN or Sportsnet. Man, thank you, Seymour. Thank you. I see Will Lou down there. I was like, there's Will Lou and stuff like. I don't know. I mean, it'd be weird. It'd be very weird. I mean, I'm not totally technically press. I really am a fan that just really has a fan fanatic channel and that is just like really, really into the team and has a passion. It's just that I do have a background in broadcasting also. So that makes it kind of like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe someday, like if I keep at this, and this is really one of the messages yesterday too, is like, if you don't give up and you keep doing something for a long time, it can evolve and it can morph. Who knows, maybe 2 or 3 years into this project and what I've been doing with this channel, I could be seeing some different moves and different things and opportunities come towards me, but I'm not betting on it. I'm perfectly happy doing this the way I'm doing it already. But if things do get opportunities does arise and I have to look at it, well, yeah, I'd love that to happen. That'd be amazing. I mean, I know Will Lou in some ways gets that feeling, Samson Folk, that all of a sudden they're like, wow, I'm in the press scrum and I'm asking the players questions. I get that opportunity. I really should have asked Nick yesterday, why are you calling out your players in public? Like, I don't agree with this, but I don't know how I would ask that exactly. It's like, do you feel like you help your players when you call them out in press about them not playing well, like what you've done recently with Gary and Precious? I know you've had success with Chris Boucher in the past doing this, but can you please elaborate for us coaches on how we could like possibly motivate our players by putting them on blast publicly? was like, I should have asked that and seen what he would have answered about that. Because, like, I don't know. That would have been the question I would have asked if I'd gotten the opportunity to ask a question yesterday. Let's see. Mike saying, Raymond, not gonna lie, facts. Branding an image to your name is a key done by every large brand. Yeah, I don't care about being a large brand or anything. Listen, this is very ragmatag, all kinds of things. Like I'm very anti-corporate and not really very much of a capitalist. Like I'm not in this for the money. I really am in this for the passion and the Larry O'Briens. And that's it. Leslie saying Chris from Top Line was in Toronto this weekend. He had a great time in the six, and he says he's coming back for the playoffs. He's becoming a freak, y'all. You know, it's funny. I watched Chris's little recap yesterday about being in Toronto, and he's going to Rasta Pasta yesterday to go eat at Rasta Pasta. I'm glad he got recommended to go there. Those are good friends of mine, Mary and Magnus, that own Rasta Pasta. I used to work for them actually because I ran the convenience store across the street from Rasta Pasta that they owned. So I was an employee of theirs for a long, long time. And it's nice to hear that Chris, that was one of the spots that he had to go to yesterday was Rasta Pasta. My good friends Magnus and Mary. Awesome stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. Sue's saying, yeah, well said, Seymour. Pape, TSN should hire me. You know who I'd like to hire me? Actually, I'd like the organization to hire me, the Raptors themselves. Like, if you want more content just in general that's official with the Raptors, you can get me if you want, Raptors. It's just you got to understand that I am kind of like, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And that may be why I should not be on TSN or Sportsnet, because I may drop an F bomb or I may be kind of like outspoken politically in ways. And I think I really do value having my true voice. And then when I start getting corporations involved, like TSN or Sportsnet, then I may not be exactly the same person. And I don't like that. I'd much rather be this and not sell out than, have to change things about what I do with my content just to fit what they want me to do like that. I won't do that. That's not me. If I'm almost 50 at this point, I ain't going to do it by this point. I would have sold out already. I'm not going to do it later. Let's see. All right. Morning, Sue. Yes, that's a great idea. TSN, get on it. Well, you know what I could actually see realistically happening possibly is them putting me on the radio. Like if they put me on in the radio, like in the morning, like giving me a Raptors morning show, kind of like the Raptors show that the guys do, but maybe a different block. I could be on in the middle of the night. I don't care. I could be like Norm Romanek and doing like Fan 590 from like 3 a.m. to like 6 in the morning. You put the Raptor Freak on then, watch. You will get some good momentum going with Fan Nation and Raptors and stuff like that. But hey, I mean, those are possible things I could see possibly. Let's see. Raymond saying, I think Raptors Freak needs a logo, Kendrick. All right. Well, that's up to him. I'm not going to pressure Kendrick to do any more pieces for me. I really appreciate the one that he has. Like, even if we just took the lettering that's off of that piece that he did, that may be the logo. That may be enough. I don't know. Bishop saying a raptor eating other coaches Godzilla style. That's pretty cool. Name was saying 40 people in the stream. Don't be hurting. Drop a like. I know this is Monday morning too. This is one of my dead times. Like sometimes these streams on Monday morning are not very well attended, partly because it is Monday morning and it is, people are very busy usually. Let's see. Raymond saying raptor teeth instead of claws on the ball. Maybe. Let's see. Mike saying the Raptors are the best that peer and trust relationships. So players believe we want the same things always, and it's key to buy into what's happening development wise. Hence a lot of my stuff. The thing with Gary recently is like, look, what Nick is saying about you to press is to get you to play better. And we saw you get more steals but not shoot as well against Dallas. But this is true. Nick is telling you straight up, Gary, how you can stay on this team and get another contract with us when this one's up at the end of the year. That you have to fit with us defensively. And if you don't, then it's like we can't have you around because you're not doing what he wants you to do. Really is his philosophy and his system. And if you do not work within that system and the things that he's holding you guys for that he needs from you, then he's right. It's like you have no place on this team. And it may be that, like, all right, the other guys are more ensconced and shown that they're going to play in his system and like really listen to coach. And Gary's kind of like turns that on and off. Some nights he may not give the defensive effort that Nick Nurse wants from him. Whereas like OG obviously is always putting it out every game. So in a way, Nick is really looking out for your best interests, Gary, by telling you exactly how you can stay on this team and get another contract from Bobby and Masai. So there you go. I mean, that is really like, it's tough love, but it's really realistic and like telling them the truth kind of love, and keeping you around. Mason saying we always play good against Cavs. If we play fast on offense, push the ball when needed, OG and our pipe workers need to sharpen their tools and be locked in to go. Raps go. Great stream, Lex. Thank you, Mason Culligan. All right. On that note, one of the factors in Cleveland games in the last couple of years has been the referees. So let's do the ref check right now, guys. Our referee tonight, head referee. Oh, oh, you know who's coming. Da, 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 da. Tony Brothers is our head ref tonight. Tony Brothers is in Toronto tonight. Tony Brothers, yeah, Tony Brothers. I'm actually kind of happy to see Tony. I know that in some ways people are like, Tony Brothers, you really want Tony Brothers to be here? Well, yeah, because I know Tony Brothers. I understand him. Tony Brothers, of course, is in his 30th season as an NBA ref. His favorite TV show is 24. He loves to listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire. His favorite book is the Bible. And we do know, because on the Raptor Freak channel, we know this, his favorite food is fried croakers. So can anybody get some croakers from the Mississippi shipped up here for Tony Brothers tonight? We can serve him some fried croakers, because we know that Tony loves them fried croakers. Now, his record for the Raptors when he is refereeing is the worst one out of the three refs tonight. I will tell you that is 45.9%. So we win 46% of the time when Tony Brothers is a referee in the game. And meanwhile, the Cleveland Cavaliers win 45% of the time when he is in the game. So that's a very close margin, very similar refereeing for both teams under Tony Brothers, but slightly an edge for the Raptors. Our second referee tonight is Eric Dalen. Eric Dalen is a great ref for us. He's in his 16th season. He's from Minnesota. His favorite TV show is NCIS. His favorite musician is Zach Brown. His bucket list is to take a ride in a fighter jet, and his favorite meal is chili. So if we can get some chili for Eric Dalen tonight, that would be fantastic. Eric's record is quite good for us, guys. We win 62% of our games when Eric Dalen is a referee in the game. And meanwhile, Cleveland only wins 46% of their games when Eric Dalen is in the game. So that's a huge difference. And Eric Dalen has definitely favored us in the past. So I like that. Our third referee, his last name is Taylor. So that's why we know he is a referee we like. Dedrick Taylor is our third referee from Miami, Florida. He's in his 10th season as a referee. His favorite TV show is Good Times. Yes. His favorite movie is Crash. His favorite musician is Michael Jackson. I want to rock with you all night. His bucket list is to skydive. And his favorite meal is breakfast, y'all. Okay, you could elaborate. You like breakfast. We'll get you some pancakes, get you some maple syrup, and we'll pour it on real thick tonight, Dedrick Taylor. We love our ref crew. In fact, Dedrick Taylor is actually one of the very best referees in our history. We win 74% of our games when Dedrick Taylor is on the court. He is the fifth best ref out of all the refs statistically for the Raptors. And meanwhile, on the flip side, the Cavs only win 36% of their games when Taylor is around. That's right, 35.5% winning percentage for the Cleveland Cavaliers when Dedrick Taylor is a ref. So I'm going to tell you right now, both of the younger refs are good refs for the Raptors. And Tony Brothers is the only ref that's kind of but he's kind of for both teams. So the referee really does look like it statistically favors the Raptors tonight. Now, we know Tony Brothers rewards hard work. Tony Brothers rewards non-sassing players. Players that sass him, well, then, he kind of gets mad at them. But like otherwise, if you just listen to him, if you're like Chris Boucher and you're talking to him and you're like, Tony, what do I need to do this better? And show respect to him, he will reward your team. And I really do find this is like, listen, just do what Tony says. Play within how he wants to referee the game, and you'll be fine. It's the people that get out of pocket with him where he punishes them. So I really like this ref crew tonight. I hope that there isn't any kind of weird shenanigans. The two younger refs, like I said, have historically been very good for the Raptors. So it's a very good ref crew. So let's get those fried croakers. Let's get that bowl of chili, and let's get those pancakes and get that 100% Canadian maple syrup and put a nice thick layer of that on top of those pancakes for Dedrick Taylor tonight. Yeah. So there's your ref check, y'all. Bam. Yeah, Tony Brothers. Who would have thought a Raptors fan would be happy to see him this morning? Yeah, Tony Brothers. All right, let's keep going. Bishop saying, cheers, freaks. Got to go. Hey, have a great day, Andrew. Start your week off right. This is Monday, man. Go get it, baby. Click saying, good morning. Good morning to Click, one of our originals. Boston Sports is saying now, don't worry, guys. I got extra tickets sometimes for Celtics games at the glorious, fan friendly, and very spacious TD Garden. You can come down to Boston and experience all the banners with me. I was sitting in the Scotiabank Arena yesterday and I was looking up and I saw a lot of banners in our building also. In fact, I was looking at one particular banner in particular is from 2019 that says World Champions on it. And I was like, that made me look so, I looked at it and I was like, there's a spot next to it. There's a spot, there's a void. There's a void that needs to be filled that has to I wanted to say the year 2023 on it. Yeah. Yeah. I think that two of those would look real nice up on our building. Now, listen, y'all have been around a long time. Of course, you got some banners. You were in a league when there were not very many teams, and y'all got a lot of championships then. I would love to come to the Toronto Dominion Center and come say hi to a building that's owned by a bank here in our city. We own your building. We literally do. But yeah, I'd love to come down there. Seriously, Boston. It'd be fun to be in your hostile environment as a Raptor fan, even though I probably get yelled at. I'll be wearing my gear. I don't care. I go down there. I'm brave. But thanks for the invite. And you know what? Listen, I don't have tickets myself, but if you came up here and you actually wanted to come to a game here, I would help you try and get a ticket and go to the game. So the offer is in reverse also for you. And I appreciate your offer. Seriously, it's very nice. But yeah, I was down there. I was looking at all the banners too yesterday. And I did see all the Leaf banners up there, all the old Stanley Cups from way, way back. And then, of course, they have Bore's, his banners is lowered a little bit right now because of his recent death, which was really sad from ALS. But yeah, there you go. I mean, hey, go ahead and brag about your banners. When'd you get your last one? Oh, it was okay. It was about 15 years ago. Yeah, okay. All right. I can't really diss Boston. Obviously, they got the most. But once again, when did they get them? When did they get them? And how many teams were around then? This is like the Grey Cup argument we heard the other day about the Argos versus the Raptors. Like, how many teams were you competing against at that time in the 60s when Bill Russell ran up all those championships for your team? He hates y'all city. He loves the Celtics, but he hates Boston. Rest in peace. Bill Russell. We miss you, and I'm so happy to see your number 6 all over the league this year. I really am. Mike saying the Raptors are the best at the pure trust relationships with players. Well, they're just real with them. Like, this is no bullshit. There's no, like, listen, you could look at the Bulls in the 90s with Reinsdorf and Cross. Jerry Krause, the two Jerrys, they were so liars and they just jerked people around. Like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen hated those guys because they couldn't get the truth out of them. They weren't on the level with them. They were always doing underhanded shit behind their back as the owner and the GM of the Chicago Bulls at the time. It's amazing that they won so many championships around that time, just how much there was not trust between ownership and the general manager, between those two, and then between the players and those two. It's crazy the dysfunction they worked around. Well, now the way we are, Bobby's straight up, Masai straight up, Nick is straight up, the players are straight up. They're very much open, truthful communication lines where it's like no bullshit. You want no bullshit? All right, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do, Gary Trent Jr. This is what you need to do. And it is very good. It's very, very good. G saying, nice. So you'll be at the Toronto Dominion Garden. Yes. G put it into writing just like I was saying it. I love it. I love it. Technically, we own your real estate. That is true. It's very true. Anything with TD in the States is Toronto Dominion. Let's keep going. All right. All right. That jumped. So I got to get back. Okay, here we go. Raymond Jacobs saying playing at Boston during playoffs is like a home game. So many Rap fans in the house. Really? I don't know about that, Raymond Jacob. It's maybe in Detroit, but we don't take over Boston's building. We do not. No, we don't. We may have some Raptor fans there, but it's not a very big percentage. So yeah, I wouldn't say that. What time to meet up around 116? I don't know. I would like to get there right when the doors open. So maybe I'll go right there. I don't know. I'll be coordinating with Monique on when she gets there. She doesn't even know I'm going to the game yet, and she's not here this morning. So I'll have to let Monique know. I'll message her after this. So Mason saying what? Yeah, but definitely 116. I would say the game starts at 7:30. and the doors open around 6:30, maybe around quarter to 7. Cool cat, like maybe around 6:45 tonight. We'll meet around there. I don't know. I'm gonna go there right as soon as the doors open, but it really will have to coordinate with Monique because sometimes she's late getting to the building, and if I'm gonna make the effort to meet her there, I may be standing there for like 45 minutes, and I don't want to do that. I'd like to get there right at the moment when she's gonna be there. Mason saying, what makes this channel special is Lex is just like us. He's a true fan that makes the stream amazing. I say, Lex, you're doing it the right way. You're doing it the way, let the fans speak, and that matters. Thank you, Mason. And honestly, I'm so glad you found this channel this summer and like you've been here regularly since. And I appreciate that. That's for real. That's true. It's like I am one of you guys. I'm like, I'm not, I don't want to be completely like Michael Grange or any of those. Why would I say Michael Grange or any of them? Yeah. So I get it, man. I appreciate that. We got to keep it real here. Boston saying, I'm saying this with all respect for Toronto franchise. Logical Raptors fanatic, but Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Chris Bosh, Kawhi Leonard, it seems like all big names from Raptors prime jump ship. Well, that may have been in the history, Boston sports fan, but not anymore. Listen, these guys want to stay, And this is part of what I was saying like earlier is like Masai told Nick Nurse, he's like, you have to develop your own talent here because we're not necessarily going to attract new talent. We're not going to get big free agents. You need to develop within. And that's what we do. Like, all right, the one that's like these guys that could possibly be like these guys is Scottie down the road because he's a high draft pick. And he is like, I don't want him to be like Bosh. I don't want him to be like Carter. And I don't know if he will be because in some ways he really loves being a Raptor and things are really good for him. They're very set up for him. Those other guys had different settings around them, whether it's Vince dealing with Rob Babcock and Kevin O'Neal, whether it's Chris Bosh, being on a team that wasn't so good around him for a while. He had his reasons for leaving. It's not like that here anymore. Now, Kawhi, the other thing with Kawhi, that was basically, we knew we had a 1-year rental with him on the down low the whole time and that he was going to leave no matter what. But we maximized that 1 year of him and got a championship. He messed up when he left, but in a way he helped us because we don't have to watch him sit around in street clothes on our bench like the Clippers do in the years since he left us. So we dodge a bullet with Kawhi, honestly, because he might have actually like really hurt our development and get our opportunity to get people like Scottie and continue to build up Pascal and OG and Fred. So these are all things that worked out. That may be in the old storyline, but that's definitely not the truth in the last 10 years. You can look at Kyle Lowry. You can look at DeMar DeRozan. These guys wanted to be here, and they were here for a long, long time. Fred wants to be here. Pascal wants to be here. OG wants to be here. Don't get it twisted. Our best guys want to stay here in Toronto. They don't want to go to other teams. All right, let's see. Mike saying strategy for future reference if used. Okay, strat is okay. I got to learn your shorthand. G saying yes, because they're Americans. Canadian players on the come up and they will want to play for the Raptors and represent. Just wait and see what happens next few years. Now, the thing about that is I think that it's not even like that anymore. I think these American guys get it. Like Fred's ready to become an honorary Canadian. Pascal, he's not from the States. He doesn't have any true allegiance to wanting to go to an American team. So I don't see why he wouldn't want to stay here. And it's like the other day, they said Chris Boucher could go to any team in this league and they would love to have him on their team. But he didn't even think about going to any other team this offseason. He re-signed with us with barely talking to any other team. He didn't even want to even deal with that noise because he knows he loves being in Toronto and playing for the Raptors and playing in his home country. So it's like, listen, Boucher is highly sought after. Any team in this league would love to have Chris Boucher on their roster. Well, he had the opportunity to go get big money this summer, and he stayed with us. So the trends are different. That old narrative that Boston sports is trying to push about superstar players not wanting to stay here is dead. It is very much dead in the water. And a Celtics fan will wish that that's still true, but it is not. It is not. These guys love playing in Toronto. In fact, Gary Trent is going to try and get his game together so he can stay here because he wants to stay here. Trust me. He wants to stay here. Tom Duke's got the croaker out. All right, send that croaker down there because we want Tony Brothers to be happy with some fried croaker before the game. Yes, Tony Brothers, we love you, Tony. You are one of my favorite refs, honestly, because you're cantankerous and you're a wild card and you can cause some crazy fun stuff on the court with your attitude. And I respect that. You are the referee. We need to respect you. And you are the referee of all referees. So listen, the players, some players hate him. Listen, if you can get him to like you, that's great. I think Tony likes Scottie. Like seriously, Scottie and Tony have a weird kind of friendship already. Young Scott Barnes is already getting good calls from Tony Brothers. So I'm very happy to see Tony Brothers tonight. Joseph Starks is saying, "Hey y'all, so I slow-mo replayed Siakam's conversation with Luke at the end of the last game, and I may be wrong, but I believe he said I will be back next game." Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could be. I could see that. I could see that. He wants to. Obviously, he wants to. Scottie said on Saturday night on his Twitch, "You'll see me in a couple days." So that means I think he's going to be playing tonight. So yeah, I think that we're going to get back our guys, especially since they really talked about how Cleveland's a very important opponent for us, and that we need to win this game against a very tough team. So they're going to want all hands on deck. So if Dr. McKechnie gives a green light for Pascal, he will be suited up and playing for us. And the same thing goes for both Banton and Barnes. Tom Duke has got that. It looks like a chili pot. Yeah, he's got the chili out there, and there's the spicy pea jalapeno. That's right. Let's get that spice back on the court tonight. Nameless saying 62% winning percentage with Eric. Get this man some chili. Yeah, yeah, that's a great win percentage. Both Eric Dolan and Diedrich Taylor are very friendly refs to the Raptors. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, there's Tom Duke's got the pancakes out for Diedrich Taylor. I love it. Raymond Jacobs saying at Boston, they all ended up regretting it, though. A lot of those guys that left did. I mean, not Chris. Chris Bosh did not. Chris was very good with his decision. But Vince, yeah, Vince and Tracy in particular, they kind of wanted to know what they could have done together as cousins. Because back in the day, they weren't supposed to be superstar teams. It was after that everybody started doing superstar teams. But Toronto couldn't have Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady. That's just too much. And that drove McGrady away. And it was really stupid. And McGrady realizes that was a dumb mistake at that time in hindsight. Cool Cat saying also at Boston, the players that jump were under different front offices. Masai, Bobby, and Nick are different. We have resigned all of our free franchise players. Yeah, we're very much like Golden State at this point, and we're looking at a long-term like nucleus of Fred, OG, Pascal, Scottie, and some of these other guys that are around them will be in that mix also. Chris Boucher, hopefully Precious, people like that. So it really is like Golden State, the way they've kept Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green together is what we're doing up here. We want to keep this band together, and we like our band. We like the guys who are playing which instruments. Mike's saying Boston sports, laughing my fucking ass off. Okay, 3 guys from over 10 years ago and not Masai era, and Kawhi wanted things we couldn't give him and extra things, hence why he left. He still calls Masai boss, man. I stand on this. Yeah, Kawhi's interesting. He said a lot of nice things about people from his past. So he's talked a lot about Coach Popovich recently and how important he is to him. And obviously he loved Toronto. Honestly, on the download, Kawhi really, really enjoyed playing for us. It's just that he had already had this idea of going home. He had that the summer before. We knew it all along on the download. I think that our guys knew it. And that's part of the reason why we were so desperate to get the championship that year. And it all came out really perfect and awesome. And Kawhi will always be a Raptor legend to a degree. It's really too bad that he really had that commitment to go back to LA no matter what. And it is what it is. But like I said, I feel like we dodged a bullet because of that. Let's see. Jimmy saying, laugh my ass off. Didn't we take them to 7 without Kawhi and Danny? Yeah. Yeah, the very next year in the bubble, and Pascal wasn't even healthy. Like, just imagine the Pascal that we have now. Yeah, we would have won that 7-game series with Boston. If Pascal had been there properly in his full effort and like strength and size and like feeling real good, yeah, we would have fucked up Boston in that series. It may not even gone to 7 games if we had the real Pascal Siakam for it, because we did not. Nameless is saying, welcome Boston sports, my brother. Yeah, we will welcome anybody from any fan nation. We've had Sixers fans here at times. We've had Nets fans, and we have different fans, Miami fans, and this is a welcome place. I mean, we very much are Raptors passionate freaks for the Raptors, but we also are, we love hearing and interacting with other teams' fans. So feel welcome here, Boston sports. I know you have been over the past year here and there, and we always feel free to drop in. I know you'll come around next week when we're playing, y'all. Cool Cat saying, and Kawhi loves our sports doctor, Dr. McKechnie, who saved our his career. Yeah, Cool Cat's right. Like Dr. McKechnie, he wanted him to get hired by the Clippers, but no, he's not going anywhere. It's like Jim Sann is sought after in this league. Everybody wants Jim Sann because he's one of the best practice coaches in the whole entire NBA. Nope, we got him. Everybody wants Bobby Webster. Sorry, we got him. Everyone wants Nick Nurse. No, sorry, we got him. Everybody wants Fred VanVleet. No, sorry, we got him. Masai Ujiri. Sorry, we got him. These are all people that everybody wants around the league. Dr. McKechnie, Chris Boucher. These are all dudes that everybody wants. You don't think everybody wants Pascal Siakam on their team at this point? Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, they do. Okay, Kendrick's telling me he's going to send me another picture today. Awesome, Kendrick James. You guys, seriously, Kendrick Chronic Art James on Facebook. If you guys want anything done by him, look him up on Facebook and message him at that site. Kendrick Chronic Art James. There you go. Jimmy saying, I can't wait to play Boston. I can't either. And thank you, Mike. Yes, you spread the facts and Project Truth on your channel, and I will try and do the same also here. All right, so I guess I got to do the real mascot matchup at this point. All right, so the last time we saw the mascot, he's in this weird fucking jail, hospital, sauna room that they've been torturing him in by turning the heat up, and Nurse Annette and the Cavalier nurse and Harry the Hawk have all been kind of hoarding around him, being like assholes to him. And he almost escaped, and he passed out from the heat because Nurse Annette is tying him back up, and he's like out cold, but he's having a dream about a horse, and it's the horse he saw in the woods when he tried to escape, and he couldn't ride because it bucked him off and it took off. Well, he's dreaming that in this dream this time he actually gets on the horse and he's able to ride it, and he's riding it in his dream. He's like, I'm riding the horse. I'm riding the horse. Well, he doesn't realize that in real life, he actually was fighting Nurse Annette in his sleep while he's riding the horse, and he frees himself. And he's getting out of the hospital in his sleep. He's like, he finds the door and he's trying to get through it. Well, at the other side of the door is the Cavalier nurse, because he's actually struck Nurse Annette in his sleep and actually may have killed her. Like Nurse Annette is laying on the floor with blood running out of her head, and the Raptor is at the door of the sauna room trying to get out. Well, the Cavalier nurse is on the other side of the door, kind of holding it back to try and keep him contained in there. Will the Raptor be able to push through the door and escape by getting past the Cavalier nurse? We'll find out tonight on the Real Mascot Matchup. Things are starting to turn around for him. It's like he has a dream about a horse, and then all of a sudden he's almost free. So there you go. There's your Real Mascot Matchup for today. Leslie's saying Toronto players have no room to coast. They have to put in the work. Lex, do you think our system is too difficult for new players who played for other teams? Well, one thing I will say about the coaches is they really do kind of give allowances for players whether it has to do with injuries and coming back from them or being a new player on the team to learn the system. That it isn't like they just expect them to just be brilliant right away. But people like Thad Young, who came to our team in the middle of the season last year, they really pick up on stuff quickly because of their experience for having played in the league for so long. There's a lot of similarities probably in our system to things that he's familiar with from over his career. So it's different with every player. Like with Juancho, there's some similarities with our switching on defense to things that he's done with the Spanish national team. So there's different learning speeds depending on whether you're like a young rookie like a Ron Harper Jr. or you're a old vet like Thad Young. Now, I know that the coaches just take this as part of the development. As part of the development is actually learning the system and getting better at it over years. Guys like Fred, OG, and Pascal know a lot of the stuff that Nick Nurse has done and practices in his system like the back of their hand, just because they have years of practicing it all. Now, Scottie's got a year under his belt, but watching him work through all the reps and different things they did in practice yesterday, it's like he really knows what he's doing too in the practice at this point. That he understands all the play calls and the drills, and he's really on top of it when they're doing it in practice. So it's different learning curves with different players and different aptitudes and maybe different levels where they are in their career. But they have to give allowances to allow guys to learn it over time. And that they really do look at that as part of the development curve is aptitude and comprehension of the system and executing and doing it well. And yeah, so I don't know if it's too difficult. I think that basketball players really, if they really love the sport of basketball, they really do get into the X's and O's and everything. Like when you see players sitting on the bench and they're pointing at things on the court and they're talking, they're very much getting into the nuts and bolts, the very specifics of things, placement, movement, footwork, where you are when you catch the ball, what you do with this. I mean, Earl Watson talked about this a bit in his part of the open house yesterday about talking about how to hedge and how to get around screens and how to screen properly. And he was like showing it with the young ladies that he was using as like people on the court. And it's like, you don't hedge like that, or you don't screen like this. You need to be this turn this much, because then you allow more of them, more room to come around. And it made me think about Cam and the way he set screens for us. But that really is that kind of like really minute, specific, every little detail of every foot placement, every little motion you make is really, really tinkered with and looked at a very, very specific level. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I can really tell. It's crazy. Mason saying, as for Boston trash talk, I'd let you know that ever since we got our new GM and Bobby Webster, player treat and talk about our team very well, you'd be surprised who talks good about us. We are great. No, that's true. Like Boston sports fan, you got to realize our culture is very attractive to players in the NBA. It may be that the media in the US and ESPN and other fan nations still don't understand that we are a very much an attractive team to the players. That a lot of players would like to play for our team, and that may not have been the case 20 years ago. That now it is. That it's a fun city, it's a world-class organization. People like winning, and you come to Toronto, you're going to be in an organization that wants to win. And that is so evident. I mean, Masai Ujiri and Nick Nurse are just like us. They believe in championships for the Raptors, and that's all they care about. They don't care about being a good team and just like having a winning record. They want to win championships. It's the end all be all and the only thing that measures success for the Toronto Raptors organization at this point is getting more Larry O'Briens. So that's attractive because you see that this team's committed. This isn't like the Leafs where you like may be like, oh, they just want to make money. They don't care if they're actually really competitive or a championship contender. That's not true with the Raptors. We really do want to win, and we're all out to win. So it's going to be really good. Mike's saying, Lex, big facts. IQ and basketball experience is key, and we understand that part really well when getting players and scouting players. Yeah, we also look at fit or like understand like, well, if we get Thad, this is what he's done in his career so far. How would this fit into our system, and how can we really utilize him in really awesome ways? And we see the fruits of that recently with him starting and the different things that he does within our system. Is like we really use his talent and his specifics to his game he's built over 16 years in a system, our system, he's able to like thrive and do different things to really contribute and help us win. So it's really smart team building that where it's like it's very thought out. It's like, all right, does this guy have a good culture fit? Is he good character? But also, what would he contribute and how would he add? Like when they were looking at this Gary for Norman trade, it was risky because Norman had a certain synergy with Fred and other players on the Raptors that was really valuable. And Norman was really kind of hitting his ceiling and it being like he's hitting like really high levels of how good he could be in the league. Well, we noticed that, and maybe he was plateauing. It's not necessarily he's not better now, but we knew that his growth was maybe not at the highest rate as it was like really before. It was like kind of maybe leveling off a little bit more, but he's still growing as a player. Whereas we see the potential, you trade him straight up for Gary Trent, and you look at the fit that he could add to it. We see, oh, bam, all of a sudden he's a steal guy who gets steals, and the three-point shot just really worked. It was a very well thought out move and very calculated. That's why I don't like when people just willy-nilly bring up trade scenarios for the Raptors, because we're not just trading to just trade. We really make trades. They're very specific and they're smart and they make huge impacts, whether it's trading Goran away to get Thad last year or trading Norman Powell to get Gary Trent Jr. That these are very, very well thought out trades. And that's why a lot of these trade machine people that are putting trades out all the time, like Miles Turner's the flavor of the week now, coming to the Raptors. Everybody's talking about Miles Turner on our team. I'm like, well, does that make sense? Is that something we need? Is this really important? Like, I don't know. I don't think so. All right, let me see. It's just an hour and 45 minutes. I think I covered everything today. That Raptors open house was just insane. I can't believe that I watched the whole practice of the Raptors yesterday. I can't believe I saw all 17 of them on the court, and I was not that far away from the court, and they were just like working, and seeing all the coaches interacting with them, just the vibes. People were smiling. Obviously, they felt real good after beating Dallas the night before. Just really good place where the Raptors are. I was worried about their energy a week or so ago when Scottie. We got the news on Wednesday about his knee and that he wouldn't be available for the Brooklyn game. I could tell Nick Nurse was in a bad place. He's very upset, irritated, just annoyed. Well, he was a lot more happy yesterday. Very smiley, very positive, optimistic. He's still sick. You can tell he's got some sort of sickness still. And that's great because that win over Dallas really did help things. And I feel like we've got good inertia. The vibe was strong in practice yesterday. I feel good about tonight. Our guys are very taking this serious, this game tonight against the Cavaliers. And we do want to make a statement tonight. And I think that's how they're approaching this game, is that they want to make a statement because they know this is a top Eastern team right now and that they've been doing very well. Well, if we want to get more shine and more respect in the Eastern Conference, we need to take out Cleveland tonight, because then we can say we're 2-0 against them for the season so far. They really are a weird streaking team. Now, if I'm going to talk about keys to the victory for this, it really is about their two little guards once again. We really need to try and contain Donovan Mitchell. The most we can stymie him and maybe lessen how many shots he takes, the better. If we put OG on him and he tries to give him OG-itis, cut off his plumbing, stop him from making anything, that'd be great. If he can do some of the similar things he did to Luka on Saturday to Donovan Mitchell, that would be great. Of course, there's two of those little guys, though, running around. Darius Garland is really the playmaker, the assist guy, who's looking for guys like Mitchell to set them up. And he had a double-double last night in assists and points, and he is somebody we got to keep track of. But I really like Gary and Fred kind of chasing him around and really harassing him and making it hard for him. Now, if Jared Allen does not play tonight, that may be better for them in some ways. Now, Mobley's played okay recently. He's been doing better than his slow start from earlier this season. Now, I like no Jared Allen, obviously, because it's less to worry about up front. But we're a team that can really match up with the Twin Towers of Cleveland, even if he's available. Now, no Kevin Love is fantastic. He's been this vet that has been very, very hurt us in the matchup against Cleveland for a couple of years now. You can think about Boxing Day last year and his stupid ass threes. You can just think about his vet presence and him showing up and hitting threes at times where we just don't need Kevin Love showing up and doing that. Well, I don't think he's going to play tonight, and that's fantastic. I'll go over the injuries real quick again. Jared Allen is day-to-day. Karis LeVert is out. That's a great thing. Karis LeVert is a very good offensive weapon for them. He's not there. Kevin Love was out yesterday with his thumb. Lamar Stevens is sick. He's out. And then Windler and Rubio are out for Cleveland. And then on our side, Scottie Barnes is day-to-day. He's actually questionable for tonight, along with Delano Banton, Justin Champagnie, and Pascal Siakam. None of them are listed out yet, but they are questionable. As we monitor the situation during the day-to-day, we will probably find out which one of these four guys, or a couple of them, or all of them, or who knows, will be possibly playing tonight. Now, Otto Porter Jr. and Precious Achiuwa will definitely not be playing tonight, but those other four guys, there really is an opportunity and possibility that either Delano, Scottie, Justin, or who's the other one again? Pascal, of course. Pascal could actually play tonight. Now, I think Pascal probably won't play until New Orleans, but I'll bet you we probably see Barnes and Banton tonight, and probably Champagnie. So we'll see all our second-year players, maybe. All right, let's keep going. Cool Cat saying, I hope. Or wait, Mason's. Okay, hang on. I got to get back. You actually filled it up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Jimmy Pope is saying, I hate trade speculation. I do too. It's just a waste of time. In a lot of ways, it's something that like Raptor fans just shouldn't do because it's just not our MO as a team. We're not a trade team. You want to be in the trade speculation, go be a New York Knicks fan. That's a team you can make a lot of trade speculation for, but not us. It's just not realistic. Mason saying 100% Lex, we are good, and I believe in our system and our team, and coaches will only get better through hard work and fact in life and on court. That the best teams sometimes learn from mistake. Listen, see, half of it's just showing up, half of it's being consistent. And that's part of the reason why I'm going to do this stream every day is I want to show that consistency and show up. and that, things will happen if you're consistent and you do this kind of stuff. Like I said before, in the last couple of weeks, do your job or do whatever you do in your own life today in a way like with Raptors excellence. Tom Duke working his job today out in the West Coast. If he's thinking like, I'm going to do this job that I have to do today that's in front of me for the day, like the Raptors would tackle a game, or how they do everything with excellence. Let's do this in our own lives, in our own jobs today. And that in a way will put into the spirit of hard work and maybe some good energy for the Raptors to really execute and really succeed tonight. I think that there's a whole weird idea about this of like, even if you just do it mentally in your own head, like I'm doing this like the Raptors would do it and in their honor. And also hopefully because it will help them win in some weird karmic way. So yeah, really think about doing it the Raptor way while you're doing your job today. Whatever you have in front of you to accomplish, do it in a way like the Raptors organization would. That's what I would say. Cool Cat saying, I hope Pascal plays tonight at home so Dr. McKechnie can assess at home after a game because we're on the road next game. Well, we know Doc will travel with the team and he'll be with them on site. I don't know. It'd be nice to see Pascal out there just because the home crowd and we can all welcome him back and cheer. But if it is being really on the side of caution because it is a groin injury and we don't want him to re-injure it, then it will maybe be New Orleans. And that's what I'm getting the feeling from, just from the press scrums and what they've been saying, is that we shouldn't expect Pascal for sure today, even though he looked like he could play yesterday. But New Orleans is maybe more likely. All right, 100% truth from Mason. Yes, from Mike. And Tom Duke saying, we're all lucky you spent your Sunday at the coaching session. Thanks for sharing your experience, Lex. Go beat Cleveland. Go Raptors. Yes, I'm going to Raptor my day. Tom Duke, I know you will. You are that kind of dude that you will Raptor your day just right. All right, let's go Raptors. All right, so there's your injury recap. Your referees are Tony Brothers, Eric Dalen, and Dedrick Taylor. It's a great ref crew. I feel real good about the vibe around the team from seeing them in practice yesterday, and just real proud to be a Raptors fan. I mean, I know Boston's fans proud of being a Boston fan. Other teams get proud. Miami fans proud of being a Miami fan. Well, Raptors fans should be proud of being a Raptors fan for sure. That we are a top-notch, world-class organization. In fact, I've said this before in the last couple of weeks. We are the best sports organization in the world today. I don't care what league it is, what sport it is. The Raptors are the creme de la creme, top-notch sports organization in this whole entire world. And they may even be writing books about our team someday about how this is how you win. Is a look at what the Raptors did when Masai Ujiri showed up. So, all right, Raptor way always. Yes, Jimmy Pope. Live your life the Raptor way. Raptorize, just like Nab Bhatia says, I don't womanize, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I Raptorize. And that's what we're doing today. We Raptorize your work and what you do today. Yeah. All right, Mason, thank you. And let's go Raptors. Y'all, please subscribe if you enjoy my previews. And tomorrow we'll be back to react to what happens at the game. I'll be at the game tonight. And Cool Cat, like I said, 116, that's where Monique shows up. Maybe we can all rendezvous there, maybe around 6:45, maybe near 7, depending on when Monique gets down to the building. All right, y'all. Have a great Monday, and let's get this victory tonight against Cleveland. We want to be 2-0 against the Cleveland Cavaliers for the season after tonight. Let's beat those little guys away from the basket and stop the Cavaliers from having anything good. Raptors, we believe in you, and we will be in the house to cheer you on right tonight. Oh, yeah. Let's go Raptors!